Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're new here, my name is Diana Tieno. I've been a virtual assistant since 2022. I've been an online business manager since 2024, and I've been a virtual assistant mentor since 2025, that is last year. Welcome to this corner where we go into a little more details than required sometimes because I'm long-winded and stuff. And also, I do share a lot of insights, so do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like this video or any of my other videos that you watch. Do not forget to leave a comment. And when it comes to comment, I always invite discussions, because at the end of the day, the goal is to grow together and the goal is to learn. And the goal is to get clients, okay, for all of us. So if you have something to add, if you watch the video to the end and you feel like I've missed something, please add it in the comments. If you have something to maybe suggest, leave it in the comments. And you can also, if you have something to comment, but it's something like a disappointment, a complaint, a disagreement, please send those to my email. Those can easily invite hate, and I'm not here to be hated. I'm not here to hate on anyone. So send those over to my email, okay? My email is somewhere. I'm sure if you check somewhere on my channel, you'll find my email, okay? And so for this specific video, I'm going to be talking about what to do as a freelancer, or maybe just as a virtual assistant during those slow months. And I wrote things down because these are the moments that it's one of those places when you find yourself in the slow months or maybe in the slow seasons. You find yourself almost getting discouraged. You find yourself like getting financially discouraged, skill-wise, everything. So I wrote this down because this is a very important video, because in this moment, these are the moments where most people give up, and this video is just to help you know that there are things you can be doing, okay? And so I wrote them down. Just that is how important they are to me. And so the first one is upskilling. Upskill. Please upskill. Learn that new tool. Please learn that new tool. Like, refine those services that you have, okay? Learn that new service. Learn that new language that you feel like, if you feel like the niche you're in, people usually look for people who can speak Spanish. Learn the basics of it, okay? If they always want people who can speak German. Learn the basics of it, okay? But upskill. That is like rule number one. As someone who's working remotely as a freelancer, is having more skills and refining them. And this is one of the best things you can do during the slow seasons, okay? Number two is seek feedback. You can seek feedback from your colleagues. You can seek feedback from former clients. You can seek feedback from the clients you're trying to approach. And I think I've mentioned this in a video before. When it comes to seeking feedback, you can also seek feedbacks to clients you haven't even approached yet, okay? And like I think I mentioned when I was doing the whole LinkedIn thing, and I said, even if it's LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, emails, whatever, just ensure, or maybe it's a service you're thinking about and you want to know if this is something people would pay for. Please, when you're seeking feedback, it's okay to go directly to your clients. As I always say, ensure that whatever you're doing, do not be scared to approach your clients, your potential clients, that is. Go to their inbox, let them know this is something you're thinking about for people who are running businesses like ours. Is this something they'd pay for? And ensure they know you're not pitching, you're just seeking feedback to ensure that you're channeling your energy towards the right thing, okay? So seek feedback from former clients, seek feedback from potential clients, seek feedback from colleagues, and you can also seek feedback from, if you have a mentor, like my mentees do seek feedback from me about the things that you're thinking about doing, okay? And then the third one is improve your communication. Always communication. I can write this in a whole list like a I almost said serial killer. Like, I'm watching Criminal Minds. So I think the current season, they have this serial killer who's rewriting and rewriting. I almost say that. So communication, please work on your communication, okay? And if you've watched my other videos, you know that when I say communication, I don't just mean emails and DMs. I mean every single thing that your ideal clients get to see, okay? So work on your communication. How well you're writing your portfolio, how well you're communicating your value and your skills in your portfolio, how well you're writing proposals, how well you're writing those fast DMs, the cold emails. Communication, how well you're showing up online. That is you communicating something about your personality, something about you, something about your value, something about your skills. Work on your communication during those slow seasons, okay? And then number 4 is update your portfolio. I think this falls under communication, but you can update your portfolio with it. Like, I think at the moment, it's been a while since I have had a slow season, okay? I had a slow season. I'm recording this in June. I had a slow season back in January, and that is when I last updated my portfolio, okay? So if I were to, God forbid, but if I were to go, like, to run into a slow season, maybe in the next few months, this will now be my chance to include what I've been working with, what I've been working with, or in what I've been working on. Actually, on is the right one. Yeah, what I've been working on since January to this point. If I were to run into a slow season, those are the things that I will be including in my portfolio. Okay, so you can always update your portfolio. Okay, and then the next one is optimize your LinkedIn and your online presence. Again, still falls under communication, but please do it. Your medium of, like, your channel, the channel that you use to get clients. Whenever you have a slow season, that is your time now to update the profiles, and update the posts, and update work on your positioning and everything. Okay, so that is that. And then the next one is you can reconnect with your past clients. This should actually be number 2 after upscaling. Okay, as a freelancer, your past clients, you may feel like they don't need your services anymore, or maybe don't ever just forget your past clients unless it ended on bad terms. Then leave those alone. Okay, because that is basically like going back to your ex. Don't do that. Okay, but revisiting reaching out to your past clients, it's okay during the slow seasons, and letting like I mentioned, at this point you have more skills, you have more experience, so it's okay to let them know. So since we stopped working together, I've been doing this and that. If this is a services, or maybe this is something you could use, I'm here. Okay, don't be scared to do that. Don't be scared to put yourself out there, whether it's potential clients, past clients. In this case, I'm talking about past clients. It's okay to go back and let them know you're more experienced now. And it's even easier to get them, because at this point the trust is already built. They've worked with you before, and if it did not end on bad terms, then that is okay. Okay, it's okay to go back and say, hey, so I've upped my portfolio, I have a little more skills to offer. If you need them, I'm here. Okay, and so to refine your systems, that is the next one, the 7th point actually. Refine your systems. And when I say systems, I think I've mentioned before, every single type of niche has its own systems. And I can mention systems that only apply to me as someone who works with, let's say, online service businesses. Okay, which is easier for me to update my systems, because I also am an online service business as a virtual assistant, as an online business manager, and even as a virtual assistant, coach, or mentor. I'm an online service business. So on this is the time to work on your systems. And when I say systems, I mean the onboarding systems, client acquisition systems, the funnel, how you're approaching them, your strategies and everything. Those all fall under your systems. Refine your systems. Okay. And then something else you can say, I'm going to the 8th point, but I think I have something to say on the 7th point, is that when it comes to refining your systems, you can also just work on those templates, the contract templates, the onboarding form templates, like every single systems that is involved in you working with clients. Start looking into them and start maybe finding like ways, if there are things you can automate, there are things you can have like just things that you use. That is the time to actually refine them. Okay. And now the next one is to create content. I do that a lot. I create a lot of content, by the way, and I think sometimes I don't realize just how much energy that is taking from me when I'm working with clients, until it gets to a point where, like, I think last week, where I'm very burnt out, and I'm like, okay, I go through the list that I do the things that I do every single week, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've been creating loads of content. I think like right now I post 3 times a week on LinkedIn, I post 3 times a week on Facebook, but that doesn't count because it's the same post. I post 3 times a week on Instagram, and I post a lot of threads. Okay, that is just things those are just maybe funnels, maybe just content that is going out to my ideal clients. That is online service businesses, coaches, mentors, course creators, consultants, online consultants, that is people who have communities, authors and speakers who have communities and everything. Those are my ideal clients. And so when it comes to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, those are people who I'm targeting on those platforms. So I create content 3 times a week for each platform. And then I also have TikTok, where I post 5 to 8 videos every single week. My target audience is quite different. That is mentees, like virtual assistants looking for their first clients, virtual assistants looking for clients in general. So create content during your slow seasons. Okay, and I'll tell you the benefits of creating content. One, it's a form of communication. You're still communicating your presence, and you're still showing up. Okay, and it still gives you that momentum. Okay, and then number 2 is that personally, by creating content, by talking on video, it gives me it gives me a lot of confidence. Okay, getting on camera and speaking about my services, speaking about the things I do for clients, it helps me with my confidence a lot. I think ever since I started creating content, I'm more I know how to communicate better, verbally communicate better, especially in video form. Okay, and so that has also boosted my confidence in those discovery calls, because it also, and creating content also it's what made me start mentoring. And by starting to mentor, just from the fact that I can handle a 3-hour masterclass every once a month, okay, that is an enough like confidence boost for me to know that I can sit in a 15-minute discovery call. Okay, so they complement each other. And by working with clients, seeing my clients also hold their end, I can also show up and also hold my end. So create content. There's a lot of benefits to creating content as a freelancer. Okay, and it doesn't mean that you're creating them to sell. You can just create them to improve your own skills, okay, to improve your own communication. And it doesn't need to be something serious. It can be just maybe a 3-minute video every single day. Okay, and so let's move to the next one. Is you can review your services. Yes, please always review your services at least every 4 months. Review your services. What do you like to do? What is more aligned? What do you do faster? What takes a lot of your time? And how are you charging them? Okay, services and offers. Slow seasons are the great point to now review your services. Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to keep offering this service to? Who do you not want to keep offering this service to? Okay, this is the right time to do that. Okay, the next thing is, this should have been number 3, networking intentionally. I'm not talking about just networking with anyone, but intentionally network. Network online, network offline. This is a great time to start. Okay, not to start. I'm assuming everyone actually networks, but this is a great time to maybe just up it a little bit. Okay, so network. And then number 11, oh wow, we're almost done. Number 11 is working on your personal brand. As someone who has a really strong personal brand, I don't have that big of an audience, but I have a very strong personal brand. I'd tell you to please start building your personal brand. And your slow season, the slow months, those are the greatest points to start, because you're not all over the place. You're not stretched too thin. You can now look at the personal aspects that you're willing to share. And this is something I always say about a personal brand. Please do not forget the personal part of it, and do not overshare the personal aspect of the personal brand. Okay, so a personal brand is basically just you taking an aspect of yourself and an aspect of your personality and aspect of your life, and then meshing it, or maybe merging it with the services that you offer. Okay, and then you mix it with your positioning statement, and that is how you show up online. And a personal brand will pay you more than just maybe sitting behind the scenes. So please, if you find the time, even in the busier seasons, slower seasons, if you find time to build a personal brand, please build it. Because I have gotten clients because of my personal brand. They just come to me and we don't have much conversations. They just let me know, so this is what I want, this is where we can start, and that because why? They've consumed my content, they've seen how I show up online, and I have a personal brand that I've built. Okay, so actually that should have been number 3 after upskilling and then updating your portfolio. I think, what did I say was going to be number 2? Anyway, let's move on. And then you can audit your business. Being a freelancer is a business. It's an online service business. You're selling your services online. And so this is the best moment to now start auditing the services you're offering. I think I've mentioned that. Audit your business. Is it paying you? Because at the end of the day, if freelancing is not working for you, the goal here is to grow. The goal here is to grow both financially and personally and all that. But the goal is always to grow. The goal is to make money. So if this business is not bringing something to you, maybe you may consider starting an on-site business. Maybe you may consider start selling food or something. But this is the greatest time during the slow seasons. I'm not saying you do that out of maybe depression, out of sadness, and out of like the mindset that this is not working for you. But I'm saying this is the greatest time to now audit, to really be honest with yourself and look at what the business is bringing for you. Okay, and then the next one is build passive assets. Yeah, and I think I say this as someone who has passive assets. I have passive assets that I don't necessarily sell because I have templates, I have intensive pre-sessions forms. I think one of my clients was looking for a business coach before, and so I came up with I have templates, I have the forms to help coaches to know what, maybe to just to have that, like to sit with themselves and decide what type of business coach they need. I have a lot of assets that I create. Mostly when I'm doing something for a client, I tend to create templates and a lot of assets. And since I'm also a mentor, I have a lot of assets that I also create during this time. This is the time where I start now going over my intensive pre-session forms for the masterclass, for the one-to-ones. Sometimes I update them. This is a great time to be doing that, okay? So whatever assets you have as for your freelancing business, the slow seasons are a great time to start working on them, okay? And then this is going to be the last one and the most important one, okay, is to rest. Freelancing, based on my own experience, freelancing is a lot of mental load. It's all mental load. Please, let's not get depressed. Let's not get anxious. And I know it's funny because getting anxious, especially during the slow seasons, is almost obvious. But this is the right time to just rest. Even if you're feeling guilty, sometimes I rest guilty and all, I just rest. Because a season will come when you start getting stressed again, and that is okay, but it is okay to rest. Remember, if you're burnt out, you're not getting results, and if you're not getting results, the clients are not referring you. Okay, and if you're not getting results, you won't even hold the clients long anyway. Okay, so your mental capacity, please protect it at all cost. Okay, and this is a comment I wrote like recently on a post that protecting your mental capacity should be one of the things that you do earlier. It's the earlier you do it, the better, because the moment you let that depression, the depression that comes with working from home and rarely being outside in the sun and rarely see people and working on managing different time zones, that depression and that burnout that comes with that, the moment you let it in, it never really goes away. It just becomes something that it comes in waves. Sometimes you just expect it any single time. Okay, so please don't let the burnout in, don't let the depression in. Okay, set up systems that will allow you to leave the house. Set up systems that will allow you to be outside. Okay, and those are the 14 points of the things that you can be doing during your slow season. So if you're watching these videos, if you're watching this specific video in your slow season, thank you for watching, and I'm hoping this is going to help you, give you ideas of the 1 or 2 things you can be doing as you look for other clients. Okay, and I'm wishing you all the best, and thank you for watching. Do not forget to like this video. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel because I post a video every single week, sorry. And do not forget to leave a comment, and for the negative comments, remember what I said at the beginning of the video. Okay, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.